Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks again for being here as always. So today's video is going to be a really quick and easy recipe. The only time consuming part is the part when it's cooking in the oven, and even that is not going to take very long. So I had some ingredients that I had to use up. I'm trying to take inventory on what I have in the cupboard, what I haven't used, so that I can get all that used up. And then I found a box of whole wheat lasagna noodles, and I also had frozen spinach in the freezer that I had to use up because it will get freezer burned if you don't use it within a timely manner. So, sorry, my voice is still crazy, still recovering from COVID. That's another whole story. Anyway, bear with me here. So I had these ingredients and I had to do something with it. So I decided I'm going to make a lasagna, very simple, very easy. With another block of tofu, I was able to create a meal that fed many people. So this meal was actually really inexpensive because frozen spinach is really, really cheap to buy. That's why I like to have some in the freezer sometimes. And then also my lasagna noodles. So I can't find them in the grocery store, but I do get them on Amazon and they're a really good price on Amazon. So that is also, makes me feel better because I'm not spending super amounts of money on specialty noodles. So we do have like a health section in my local grocery store, and that's where they have like brown rice noodles sometimes and things like that, and usually they're priced pretty good, but for some reason the lasagna noodles are really jacked, so I'm not going to spend that kind of money. I just get it from Amazon. They're whole wheat, they're healthy, I really enjoy it. So this whole meal was really inexpensive because I was able to find my sauce at the dollar store, and frozen spinach is really cheap. I buy my noodles on Amazon. So, and a block of tofu, really, you can get them on sale all the time. So this whole lasagna is made very, very cheap. A block of tofu is probably like $2 to $3 depending on where you live. And each can of sauce is $1. So, and then my noodles, I want to say I paid like maybe $3 or something for the box, so pretty cheap. If you already have herbs and spices at home, then you're good to go. So yeah, I mean, if you want to make a big meal on, very low money and make it a healthy meal as well, not just cheap but healthy, then this is definitely a good recipe to try out. So this recipe is also oil-free. I don't use any oil in my tomato sauce or in the spinach, nothing. Like, I'm just completely keeping it oil-free, and it turned out perfect. I know a lot of people say, oh, with tomato sauce, you need to add the oil, adds a lot of flavor. No, it's perfectly fine, and it's just plain canned tomato sauce. So as long as you add your seasonings accordingly and really season up your food, I think that is the main thing. So, oh, that's another story. So I still can't taste anything, still can't smell anything after having COVID. So I really have to use the people in the house to try things and make sure that everything is seasoned accordingly. So recipes are going to be a struggle just because I can't taste it. I don't know if it's okay. So this lasagna has been approved by others that ate it, and they gave me feedback, so I know that it's okay. So the only thing that I would say is when I write out the ingredients, I'm going to put a little bit less lemon juice than what I put in, because they said it was a little bit, like they could taste a little bit too much of the lemon coming through, although the whole lasagna was like gone in like 2 days. It was completely eaten up, so it was obviously not bad, but it would be better with a little bit less of the lemon juice. So I'm going to tailor that recipe and just adjust that a little bit, and that way you guys have the right measurement. So yeah, let's go. I'll show you how to make it. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So like I said, we're making lasagna, super easy, all inexpensive ingredients and really easy to find. So all you need is your box of lasagna noodles, a block of tofu, some frozen spinach, some tomato sauce. I have fresh basil, but you can use dry. And then I just have some spices. You can use whatever you prefer. I have onion powder, garlic powder, paprika. I'm using nutritional yeast. I'm using dry oregano and salt and pepper. So you're going to start by putting a lot of water in a big pot, and I lightly salt it, and that's going to do its thing until I put my lasagna noodles in. I have my block of tofu. Now you can put it into a processor if you want to, and then you can just pulse it and it will be a lot easier, but really I'm just using a fork and I'm mashing it up. I'm just keeping it super simple because not everybody has all the gadgets. You can still make this lasagna even if you don't have all the expensive gadgets. All you need is a fork, just mash up your tofu and you're good to go. So now you're going to add some lemon juice. A tablespoon of lemon juice is all you need. I added a little bit too much, but yeah, so just add that in and then just mix it up in the tofu. So once you've mashed up your tofu, you're just going to measure out your frozen spinach and try to get any excess water out of that spinach. And I have 4 cups and 4 really full cups of the spinach. I love adding these greens in because they're so nutritious and we need all those vitamins and minerals in our diet. So I love adding spinach. It's just a powerhouse of nutrition. And then I have so much protein in here because I'm adding all the tofu. So this is going to be a really filling and power-packed dinner. So I'm going ahead and adding my favorite spices. You can use whatever you prefer, so you can customize it the way you want. I'm just putting in all the spices that I mentioned earlier, and really I'm eyeballing it. I guess I'm putting at least a tablespoon of each in because I do want my lasagna to be very flavorful. But again, add the amounts that you think are best and then taste it and see if you need more. So as far as the nutritional yeast goes, this is the only thing that's a little bit pricier, and it depends on where you live because it's easy for me to find, but that's easy for me to say because I live in downtown Toronto. So anyway, if you can get it, perfect, because it's going to add kind of that cheesy flavor and consistency to your lasagna. So I do recommend putting it in, but if you can't find it, you can leave it out and don't feel bad about it. It's not a big deal. So I am putting in at least a couple tablespoons, 2 to 3 tablespoons are going in, and it's going to add a great flavor. And like I said, it's going to add kind of that cheesy texture. So now I'm going to go ahead and cook my lasagna noodles. Some of them are already pre-cooked and oven ready, but these whole wheat ones are not. You do have to cook them ahead of time. And then I just have my simple tomato sauce. I'm adding it into a pot because I do want to season it. It is oil-free and just tomatoes, but I still want to add my own fresh basil and some spices just to season my lasagna further. So I'm using 2 of these cans, and it just cost me $2 at the dollar store to buy it. So I think that's a pretty good deal. If you don't have fresh basil, don't stress. Just use dry basil. That's perfectly fine. It will still taste great. I always keep this little pot at my windowsill, so I always have fresh basil even in the winter time. So I find it really helpful and I use it quite often, and it will just kind of keep replenishing itself and getting more leaves, and it's just a wonderful, easy thing to keep on my windowsill. So I am adding in 1/3 cup of my fresh basil, but again, you can sprinkle in some dry. That will be great. I'm putting in paprika, garlic powder, and onion powder in here as well. And again, I'm eyeballing it. I'm just putting a little bit. I'm going to mix it up and let it cook up just a little bit so that it can get really flavorful. So once my lasagna noodles were cooked, I just removed them from the water. Now I should have used a wooden spoon. I only had kind of that like pasta scooper, but it kind of destroyed some of my noodles, but whatever, it's fine. It'll still work. It's just, it would be better if I used a wooden spoon. So I'm using cremini mushrooms. Use any kind of mushrooms you want, or add another vegetable if you don't like mushrooms. And that's my mixture all done up. So now I just have to assemble the lasagna. So while I am assembling the lasagna, I like to preheat my oven, and that way it's nice and hot. Once I'm done assembling everything, I can just pop it straight into the oven, and it's going to be 350 Fahrenheit, and it's going to heat up while I'm doing this. So I like to add my tomato sauce to the bottom of my baking dish because I don't oil up my baking dishes unless absolutely necessary. So this works for me perfectly. My lasagna never ever sticks to my pan. I just add a little bit of the hot sauce on the bottom and I start to assemble my lasagna. So again, my lasagna noodles did break, but I'm just going to kind of stick them together as best as I can. And once it's cooked up, you really can't tell that everything is broken up anyway because you're going to have all these layers on top of each other. So I did 3 layers. You could probably get away with 4 layers and make it an even bigger lasagna. I only had 1 box of lasagna noodles though, and I did want to use a larger dish. So if I had a square dish, which I do have, and I do make it in there sometimes, it would be like a lot higher and thicker, but I would be able to use that same box, but you know, just layer a little bit more in the smaller dish. But I wanted to use the big one, so it's not going to be as high and as thick as it could normally be. But I really like this kind of style of doing it, and that way I can layer up everything easily. And I'm just putting that layer of the spinach and the tofu down, and then I'm going ahead and adding my mushrooms. They're uncooked. I'm just popping them right on top and just layering up. So I'm adding a little bit more of that tomato sauce, and I'm just adding more of the lasagna noodles, and I'm just going to build up my lasagna. Okay, so here it is, all done, and now I'm going to sprinkle some nutritional yeast on top. This is totally optional, you don't have to do it, but I'm just going to add some extra flavor, and that's going to be kind of like my cheesy topping on top. If you wanted to and you use the vegan shredded cheese, you can go ahead and add that on top, but I'm trying to keep everything oil-free, and those shredded cheeses usually have some oil in it. So I'm just going to go really basic, very easy, and just sprinkle the nutritional yeast and then pop it into the oven. So here it is out of the oven. I cooked it for 30 minutes and it's kind of a little bit crispy on top because of the nutritional yeast, and it's perfectly cooked. So if you cut it right away, you're going to see a lot of juices, and I'll show you in a second. There it is. It's quite juicy. It still tastes great and fabulous, but if you don't want all the extra juices, allow it to sit a little bit longer and it will kind of thicken up and you won't have all that extra juice. And any leftovers, of course, it thickens up. You're not going to have that going on. So my lighting is a little bit crazy, but you get the gist of it. This is pretty much what it looks like. Super healthy, super delicious, and it worked out perfectly. I'm really happy with it. I do suggest that you use the whole wheat noodles just because you're adding a lot more nutrition in your lasagna. But if you can't find it, then just get whatever you can find that's the healthiest possible lasagna noodle that you can find at your local grocery store. So do what you can, and yeah, so that, like I said, I use Amazon because I can't find whole wheat noodles at my grocery store. So sometimes you just have to think outside the box and figure out what the better option is and look at the different prices and go from there. So I'm going to make spinach and mushrooms, and I'm just going to layer all of that on some toast. So I did keep a half a cup of the mushrooms, the cremini mushrooms, and I'm using 1.5 cups of that mixture that I used for the lasagna. I reserved that to make this. So sometimes I just add it all in the lasagna and I just make lasagna. Other times, if I want to make another dish using the same ingredients, then I will just reserve some of those ingredients so that I can make a second meal. I just want to show you that with very few ingredients and not that much money, you can create more than one meal out of these ingredients. You just have to think outside the box. So I decided I'm going to throw some mushrooms and water saute them. I added a little bit of bouillon and a little bit of my staple seasonings, and I threw in 1.5 cups of that mixture that we had made earlier with the spinach and the tofu. And then I'm just going to let it season a little bit in my pan, and I'm going to toast some of my sprouted wheat toast. It's, sold at Costco, very easy to find and very inexpensive. And I'm just going to add this mixture on top of my toast to create another really filling and really healthy meal. I just wanted to show you that if you're in a pinch, you can still eat healthy as long as you have certain things on hand. So if you wanted to, you could even make this mixture, put it in an airtight container in the fridge, and then you can use it in a variety of different ways, because as you can see, it made a lot of filling. So you could probably get away with doing 4 pieces of toast with what I have here, but I'm just loading it on 2 pieces, and we ate it like this. This was delicious, and it was so filling. So, I mean, this is a very, like I said, inexpensive way of eating. You're getting a lot of your nutrition in, and it's very simple ingredients that pretty much anybody can find at any grocery store, no matter where you live. So I hope that this video gave you some inspiration, and if you try any of the recipes, if you're just going to do it on the toast, or if you're going to make it into a lasagna, or you're just going to use the mixture and create your own meals, let me know how it turns out for you. I hope that these recipes help you or inspire you to make something similar. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for all the support on the channel. I always appreciate you guys, each and every one of you. Thank you so much. And if you can, give the video a like because it helps my channel tremendously. I appreciate that as well. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. If you like really easy and healthy recipes, and if you like wellness tips, then you will definitely like the channel. Thanks again for being here, guys. Stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.